fabulous.
And mine is dressing up as Henry VIII.
I know.
I'll have to
Maybe
send you a picture, Carl.
I do sense that I got to get some slides on the YouTube version of this. My name's Carl Hinder, and you're listening to the Salon Help Good to Go podcast, the podcast for salon spa and clinic owners who want to grow with more structure, more confidence, and better results. Episode 55. Welcome back to a session with Natalie Collins on marketing, part 2. I think anyone who's suffering with time management issues, and this goes for us as well. We mentioned earlier about our families. We get so bogged down with I won't call it the minutiae because it's very important, but there's so much demand on our time. When I'm working with salons and business owners and about time management, one of the things I try and get them to do is to delegate as much as they can, and sometimes that delegation is through staff if they're fortunate enough to be moving in that direction. Other times that delegation has got to come in the form of agents or assistants, or agencies like yourself. They could be, talking to you, couldn't they, about taking some of this burden off them?
Yeah, I mean, this is why I started up the business, because I'm very aware that not all companies are going to be able to access, an experienced marketing manager with 20 years experience. And I've always worked in-house before. But now what I do is I offer half-day support. So either a half day a week or a half day a month. And then it gives the opportunity to smaller businesses to get access to an experienced marketing manager by just paying for a half day. And there's been a lot of smaller businesses that have taken that option up just because they simply, they can't afford to employ a full-time marketing manager, but they need someone that's experienced and, not just someone who's doing it because they're not really from a marketing background, but they're trying to pick it up and do a bit of marketing for them on the side. So that's the idea of Creative Collins Digital Marketing, really.
Yeah, and I think that your Natalie's details, by the way, will be in the show notes. If anybody wants to catch up with Natalie and have a look at her services and see if you can get yourself some assistance. Once we're talking about these kinds of things, I always kind of concerned. I'm always concerned. I'm always concerned about something. I'm always concerned that people think that marketing for them is only social media. Now, I don't want to um, devalue social media in any kind of way. It's massive for salon help. Okay, it is unbelievably powerful and useful. But would you say to a business, or when you work with a business, when you're looking at your strategy, you say, listen, when we sit down for the first time, everything is on the table and we narrow it down, or do you dive straight into the socials because that's where they want to go?
Yeah, so actually had quite a lot of clients come to me saying, we want you to help us with our social media. And like I said at the start of this podcast, I like to it is in my nature to take that step back. I look at marketing strategy and I've said to them, is this the best place for your audience? Sometimes it is, but often, and one of my main clients that I'm working with now, it hasn't been, and we've gone down a completely different route. And they're having lots of success with it. But everyone automatically thinks, I need to be on social media. I need to be on all the platforms. And it may be that some platforms do work for you. But us marketing people, we like to talk about the marketing mix. Okay, so it's everything in moderation. Marketing, there's so many different things that you can use as part of your marketing strategy. If you're using events, if you're using influencer marketing, you might have budget to do outdoor, radio, or there's print, leaflets, brochures, pop-ups, merchandise. There's competitions and partnerships. There's PR, which I talked about. My background is in PR. There's so many different things that you can be using as part of your marketing strategy. And the majority of people, unfortunately, when they think marketing, they think social media. So I will always take that step back and I will look at the full marketing mix and how you decide what your mix of marketing is. I like to think of it as a pick and mix. I think it's because it's called the marketing mix. Okay,
Yep.
but you might want 50% of website, 30% of social media, and 20% of events. And then you start tailoring as you go along. If you find that the majority of your inquiries are coming from social media, then spend the majority of your time on social media. But you might surprise yourself. You might start doing an email campaign. You might find that the majority of your inquiries are coming from sending a monthly newsletter as an email campaign. So that's where more of your marketing effort should be put, rather than just doing the fun social media bits. You want to be doing the bits that are bringing you closer to your company goals, aren't you? Might not be as exciting as making TikTok videos, but at the end of the day, what's important to everybody is that their business is growing, and whatever's going to help you closer to having a successful business, that's what you need to be doing. There's not enough hours in the day to be doing marketing that isn't working for you. You need to really concentrate your efforts and pinpoint what is working for you and just focus all your energy into that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And we everything has to be narrowed down to priority, doesn't it? And one of the things we did, a membership, massive not passive group last night, and we focused in on paid Facebook ads. It was a very, very one pointed kind of session. The big thing that came out of that, and it always comes out of my marketing stuff as it's going to come out now, is I tell businesses, look, let's not do any marketing. And you're going to laugh at this. And hopefully, as a listener, you're laughing at this as well. If you are rubbish, right? If you're a rubbish salon, rubbish barber, spa, chip shop, whatever, if you're rubbish, don't market that. You know you've got to get your house in order before you invest your time, energy, and money in marketing, because we need the business. No, we need the marketing to reflect the business, and we've got to keep the promise. And the reason I kind of come in with our little intro is one of the things that I'm always talking about when businesses say I'm going to close down, especially businesses that say I've got a lot of competition. So let's say you got a takeaway, restaurant in a town, or a salon, doesn't really matter, and they say, oh, there's too much competition. I always ask them, why should I come to you? And if they
Yeah.
just say things like, oh, because I'm friendly, I say, well, everyone's friendly. Oh, yeah, but okay, well, we do really good colors. No, everyone really does good colors. Oh, well, it's because we have good opening hours. Most people have got good opening hours. Do you kind of point your clients to a point of difference? Do you say, look, we need to have a reason to come to you? Or do you kind of just
Yeah.
go, until we
So
work that out, we'll
included in the marketing, sorry, I'm so excited to talk about
go,
marketing.
go, go,
I'm
go, go.
just cutting you out now.
It's okay. It's
So
okay.
yeah, as part of marketing strategy, there's about 10 different areas that I like to look at in marketing strategy. Okay, the first being kind of your vision and your goals. What do you actually want to do? And then you start going through, you start looking at your products and your services, you start looking at your audience, who are you targeting? Big important one, and probably the one along with audience that takes the most time, is all your messaging. So what are you saying? If you're just saying most hairdressers are award winning now, aren't they? We're an award winning hairdresser and it's friendly when we come into the salon. Is that going to make you stand out over somebody else? So you can spend so much time coming up just thinking, right, what are people saying about us? Ask your customers, why do they come to you? Look at your Google reviews or your social media reviews. What are people saying about you? And it doesn't always have to be that you are a top end, high quality salon. If people come to you because you are cheap, then you need to embrace that. Look at Poundland and Primark. They've created really successful marketing campaigns. Aldi and Lidl, they've got Tesco and Marks and Spencer's kind of running for the hills now, haven't they? If you are cheap and cheerful, embrace being cheap and cheerful. If you are high end, make sure you are high end, okay? And your pricing reflects that. Your salon looks high end, your marketing looks high end. It all comes down to kind of your messaging, and we call it the tone of voice. So the way that you talk to your audience and the way that you present yourself all needs to be your image. And I like to think of a company as, so we give them like a brand persona, give them a personality, think of them as a person. Are they young? Are they old? Are they cool? Are they boring? And those different personas, every company will want to be one of them. So just be really honest with yourself. Think who your company are at the minute, and if it was a person, give it a personality. Who is it? If you're not happy with your brand personality, you can work to change it. If you don't want to be cheap and cheerful and you are trying to be high end, then that will just open your eyes then as to kind of what you need to do to work on your brand personality. But yeah, all of that makes up kind of the strategy, really. Messaging, audience, tone, the look, the feel, and it all needs to marry up. You can't be marketing yourself as a high-end salon, and then if someone actually comes into your salon, it kind of doesn't meet expectations, or the customer services, everything, the strategy all needs to tie together and all needs to link up, so your customer is invested in you, they trust you, and you've got kind of repeat loyal custom then.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to ask you about pricing strategy. So I think you've nailed the pricing strategy part of it. I want to say this because there's going to be viewers and listeners that are going to think that I'm always looking for the premium price answer. And I'm not. I'm actually with you totally on this. Your pricing structure is appropriate to your goods and service.
Mm.
I think the salons and businesses that I deal with, a lot of them I deal with, the saying is that they want to have champagne service at cider prices. And that's where the discrepancy is. If you're a business and you decide, or maybe your client is deciding, or your location, or whatever it is, your skills or something, that you are going to be a lower price point, then everything has to be appropriate to that, including the timing of service, the way we approach it, everything. And likewise, if you're a premium based business, you can't promise to be premium and deliver, the lower end of the scale. So yeah, that is true marketing. You must always promise, or you must always deliver, I should say, what you promise. That's we should do that, morally as well.
Yeah, I think, if people are paying a lower price, they haven't got that expectation, have they? And I'll just, compare shops again. If I went into, say, John Lewis, I wouldn't expect for there to be clothes thrown everywhere. I would expect it to all be nice and neat, for it to be smelling nice, for that high quality look. If I went into Primark, I wouldn't batter an eyelid if there was clothes off the rail and I was queuing a little longer at the checkouts, because I know that Primark is I'm going there because I'm budgeting for my shop, whereas I'm going to
Yeah.
John Lewis because I'm expecting a more high end kind of service. I'm not saying that we should be not treating our customers nicely if we are the lower end, but what I'm saying is that there is a lesser expectation. We don't want to be marketing ourselves as high end on our social media, and then when they arrive, they see that, oh, actually it's not kind of what I thought it
Yeah.
was. um
I don't want to move off the marketing track today, so I don't want to get too involved, or take you down coaching avenues. The difference in our industry, or my industry, with salon spas and clinics, is that for many many years, maybe decades, we have delivered much higher standards of service than the client has paid for. And we've done that in a couple of ways. We've done that by the owners subsidizing the business by not paying themselves, or not paying themselves very much. So they're providing a higher standard of service. And traditionally, and this is why there's a movement in the self-employment market, we don't pay staff what we need to pay them to develop and grow the business, or indeed the industry. So we are at a junction at the moment where we have a lot of smaller salons delivering really, really high standards at a very, very low price. Now, the reality with all the financial challenges, it says, oh, well, I can't do that anymore because they've now got out of control. So I think anyone watching and listening to this has got to say, I've got to realign. I've got to go back to my target audience. I've either got to realign my business with my existing clients, or I've got to find new clients that will realign with my business. Are you with me?
Yeah.
That's what the industry has to do with its marketing. We can't, as you say, go on saying, amazing, amazing, amazing offers and promotions, and say we are award winning and
No,
amazing.
and marketing yourself as a high end. And do you know a company that does this really well is Ryanair. If anyone follows Ryanair on TikTok, because they will do TikTok saying, you don't get any extra leg space, but you get really cheap plain price flights. So
Yeah.
they're just saying it from the get-go. You don't get a window seat, but you get a return trip to Amsterdam for £30. And the people who want to pay the lower prices, that's really appealing to them. They know that they're not going to get something high end, but they're going there because they don't want to spend a lot, getting on a plane flight, getting their hair cut.
Well, you're
So
right.
it's just giving the
Yeah.
people the expectation that people are going to expect.
Yeah. Well, you're right, because that thing about what's your point of difference, the reason I should come to you, it's the first thing I coach with every single client on a one-to-one, and I ask them to put that on the front page of their website.
Yeah.
One of the things we talk about a lot recently, I say, visit me because I'll treat you like a celebrity. So let's
Mm.
say that becomes your selling point. That's different to most other salons. You can't just put that on there and then treat you like I don't know, like a I don't know, someone who's never been to a salon before. You got to be careful, haven't you? So you got to make sure that you keep your promise, and it doesn't matter what you promise, you have to keep it. You know what I mean? So like, and morally, you have to do that anyway. But it makes good business sense if you want to keep the client. That's one of the reasons I believe that many industries suffer with client turnover, is because we make a promise to get them there. Sometimes it's price, by the way. Sometimes we say, you know, we do an offer as half price, we get them in there, the client is now a half price client, but of course next time the price doubles. They're now no longer a half price clients, they're now a full price client. So we make work hard for ourselves by bringing in the wrong people, and it's all back, isn't it? You've got to bring in the target client. Just makes your life, you're going to, and keep the promise, and then you're going to be able to hold on to them and grow your business.
Yeah. And I think it's just, whoever your target audience are, if they are, a 40-year-old professional woman, think of somebody that you know who is that target audience and think, right, Natalie is my target audience. I've given away my age now, haven't I? Natalie is my target audience. What would Natalie pay? What would she want to hear? What social media channels would she be on? She's got two, we know we've got two children, she's really stressed, or come on a Saturday morning, have a break from the kids, come and have your hair done, you deserve to treat yourself. That's the kind of messages Natalie is going to want to
Yeah.
hear. Think of who your audience, once you know someone and you've got a visual picture of who you're speaking to, marketing is so much more easier, because you just think, that's my daughter, that's my friend, what do they want to hear, what are they going through, and speak to them.
It's interesting that you use your name there, but when I'm building my avatars with my clients, I say, let's give them a name.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Because it helps you visualize, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So
and
all,
with my
all
own audience, I've given my names as well, and they're people that I know. Those
yeah.
people don't know that they're my target audience, but I've given them names. So whenever I speak on LinkedIn, I speak to that person, or it just makes marketing so much more easier.
Okay, now this is a difficult area because we've spoken at length now about how important marketing is, all the strategies, or many of the strategies that we can do and invoke. We've got we've identified that business owners need to maybe move away from the chores and invest in marketing. So how much should they be investing financially? They're already putting in all their time. And what can they expect? We call it ROI, yeah, return on investment. How do they know, Carl? Am I supposed to be spending £10 a week or £500 a week? And if I spend 500, well, what am I going to get back? So,
Mhm.
what kind of guide are you giving people as an expert?
Well, look, there's loads of ways you can record your report on your return on investment. Okay, so if you spend £50 on running a Facebook campaign and you get someone through the door that pays more than £50 to have their hair cut, then that's paid for your advertising, isn't it? So, like I mentioned earlier, I do for all my clients, I do monthly reports. So I will say, this is how much we've spent, and then this is how much return we've got. But you have to be really strict in recording your marketing efforts to be doing that. And sometimes it's even tricky for marketing teams to keep on top of that, because obviously you'll have to record how much people spent and what kind of route they came through for their marketing. But some people, I mean, in answer to your question, there's no, we should be spending £100 a week on marketing, because it's what marketing is working for you. So, marketing, even though marketeers don't like to admit it, marketing is trial and error as well, okay? Because maybe you've done TikTok advertising and Facebook advertising and LinkedIn advertising, and maybe only one thing worked for you. Maybe none of it worked for you. So it's about tweaking. Right, I've changed my message, I've changed the image. Let's try that. Let's try targeting a different demographic or a different location. And it's about tweaking your marketing. So I'll use an example. When I set up LinkedIn ads for one of my clients, when we first started, we were bringing in a handful of leads a month. As the months went on, it turned into a few hundred leads. When we started going the year after, by the middle of the year, we'd already brought in the same amount of leads as we'd done the whole of the year before. So the more you know, right, this advert is working for me, saying this message with this image, even emails, this email works, this layout, this messaging. And the more you do something, it's called A/B testing, where you kind of test two things, you see which one works best. Right, do it again, see which one works best. And the more you do a piece of activity, the better it is, and then the more leads it will generate. And some of that activity might not be paid for activity. Email campaigns, you don't have to pay for email campaigns, and they could be the best thing bringing in the most leads. Website, you could do yourself a free website and it could perform for the same that someone's paid, £20,000 for a website. So there is no set target of what you should be doing. But what you do need to be doing is, if you find a paid for piece of activity, Google Ads might be really good for you if you do have a website, then you need to, that's the activity that you stick with. PR is, you don't pay for PR, but that's a really good piece of marketing activity that you could be doing. So I think it's just, don't feel under pressure to be spending £500 a week on your marketing. You don't need to be doing that until you're really convinced that that piece of paid for advertising is really working for you. Don't go invest in lots of money into something, is what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I have um, financial targets for my individual clients, but then I kind of know their business. But the thing is with marketing as well, I want um, business owners to remember that it isn't always about financial investment. Often it's about effort and time investment. Sometimes you can make things work for you, like networking. You can turn up at events which could be free, and you could get a whole lot of return on that. Or events actually at your salon or business where you invite people in for coffee and all that sort of stuff. So, from me, I always think, when I'm doing my strategies, we look at what budget's available currently and where we want to grow to. And yes, it's nice to put a number on it and say, use 5% of your turnover to get you to where you want to be. But we have to look at effort and dedication as well.
And sometimes you might need more. If you're doing LinkedIn ads, LinkedIn ads are really expensive to run, but they
Yeah.
would work amazing for some businesses. Facebook ads are really cheap to run. You can spend 20, 50 quid on a Facebook ad.
Yeah.
But it's all about what is working for your business, isn't it? And what I would say is don't be afraid to try new things. If something free is working amazing for you, then that's what you stick at. Don't feel like, oh, I need to go and spend £500 a month on Google Ads now if it's not bringing in the inquiries for you. It's all about what works for your business, and that's why a marketing strategy is so important, because it's tailored to
Yeah.
what you want to do, not what other people are doing.
Okay, let's kind of move towards the end of this. Do you think that marketing generally there's an area, an opportunity that is missed more than anything else?
I mean, I've spoke about this before, but influencer marketing is there's so many influencers now, especially on Instagram, isn't there, and TikTok. And I've spoken about it with you before, Carl. But it's not just you don't just have to say, oh, this is how much I'll pay you to promote my product. Um, the hair and beauty industry is absolutely perfect for influencer marketing, because you can offer someone a treatment. Maybe they do a post before they come in saying, oh, I'm really excited, I'm going to go and have my hair done at Natalie's hair salon. Then they come out, they do another piece of content for you, and in exchange for those two pieces of content, you've given them a haircut. And I normally tend to look for influencers with a certain amount of followers. So obviously the more followers, the better. But try to look for influencers who you think are who your target market are following. Don't team up with an influencer, an 18-year-old girl, if you're targeting kind of OAP ladies coming into your salon to have their hair cut. So influencer marketing is not to be overlooked, because you can offer them a treatment instead of payment often as well. And also, I know I've mentioned it a few times, but public relations is amazing. You just write up a story, send it to your local paper with a picture, and you could even give them a ring if you feel brave and ask them if they will publish your story. Something that you've done. Have you opened a new salon? Are you offering a new treatment? Have you won an award? Whatever you've done, you just write up a press release. You can send it to the paper and they will publish it for you for free if it's interesting enough.
Yeah, we used to do that when we had salons, and we used to build relationships with these people. I think that's another thing we got to do is not just do that on a one-off. I think if we build a relationship with the editor or the deputy editors, or we just need to make sure that we got things in place, and we're consistent as well. But I totally agree about PR. I think it's much overlooked, and when we do it, we're very spasmodic. And in Wales, when I had my salons, we've had loads of people visit us. We had S4C come and do an opening for us. We had the BBC there. We had the BBC visit us because we put our Christmas tree up too early.
Yeah.
um,
So
yeah,
you
we
could
put
think
it.
of fun stories with PR, can't you? You
Well,
can think of
yeah,
really fun
we put
things.
our Christmas tree up on the 1st of October,
Yeah.
and before you knew it, it was on the radio. Everyone was phoning us, and I'm not suggesting you do that just to get attention, but you can do that. And obviously, lifestyle stories. People like, families and happy stories would be good, guys. I would just like some happiness to be reported.
Mm.
Okay, listen, I think we've really given marketing um,
We
a
could
good
just talk
review.
all day long,
Oh,
couldn't we?
couldn't
We
we?
could stay on
We
you for another 4 hours.
we could absolutely, and this is clearly going to be a two-part podcast already. I want the audience to know you, get to know you a little bit more. I know at the beginning we kind of asked you a few questions, but I want to ask you a little bit more. One of the things that I always like to ask is about your favorite book, because I think your favorite book, if there is one, can say a lot about your attitude to life or
Mm.
business. Do you have one?
Well, do you know what I would have said? So even though I've worked in marketing for 20 years, I set up my own business in October. So I am, I'm an entrepreneur now, and I've joined the world of business owners with all you guys. So for Christmas, my husband bought me The Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. He's off Dragon's Den.
He is.
So I started reading it this week. So that I would say that would be my favorite book. Before I was a business owner, it would have been a book on history. It would have been a book on the Tudors or Henry VIII or something. But now it is the diary of a CEO.
That's lovely. I think, I think entrepreneurs like to kind of look for snippets and information and
Yeah.
motivation as well. Obviously, we're
Mm,
talking to a lot of them, but there's also a downside. I mean, I don't mean a downside as in a negative. There's also uh, a non-working side to most people's lives, at least. And of
mm.
course, yeah, you enjoy your history. That's fabulous.
And mine is dressing up as Henry VIII.
I know, I know.
I'll have to
Maybe
send you a picture, Carl.
I do sense that I got to get some slides on the YouTube version of this. Okay, listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast with me, the Sound Help Good to Go podcast. How's the best way for people to contact you now? You know, they've listened to you, they're like, I'm all in with Natalie. I need some help. Marketing's too important to ignore. What have they got to do?
Well, I mean, they can ring me and I'll speak to them about marketing for a good few hours. No, but I'm quite active on LinkedIn. If anyone's on LinkedIn, they can add me, Natalie Collins on LinkedIn, or just contact me through my website, Creative Collins Digital Marketing. It's a big picture of me on the homepage, so you can't miss it.
Great. Okay. Are you dressed normally or
Yeah,
like Henry
normally
VIII?
just sat in my living room.
Okay. Because they're all going to be on LinkedIn looking for you now.
Yeah, I'm really active on LinkedIn because that's the platform for me. Even as a marketing person, I haven't set up accounts on Instagram or Facebook because LinkedIn is my bread and butter where I meet other business owners. So it just goes to show that that's how I'm focusing in and targeting in on my
Fabulous.
marketing.
Well, I'll make sure all the details, guys, all the details for myself, the all the things to do with the pricing app and all the tools that I have, all the contacts for Natalie will be in the show notes. Or if you're on the YouTube channel, you'll see them in the section below. So big thank you, Natalie. Big thank you to the viewers and the podcast listeners. And well, listen, guys, get a grip on your marketing. Go and be better, I guess.
Yeah, and look, we're dead on. It's just about to turn 60 minutes. We were dead on an hour. That's good, isn't it?
Fantastic. You have been listening to the Salon Help Good to Go podcast. Take a look in the show notes where you'll find all the links that you need for myself and Natalie. Leave a review and please let other salon, spa and clinic owners know that I'm here every Sunday at 4 p.m. to kickstart their week. I'll see you on the next episode.